Hello and welcome to another Company of Heroes 3 game. My name is Fancy Josh, and today I've got a game for you between Barbarossa as our US. His opponent today is going to be Ruby as our Africa Corps. Map today is going to be Crossing in the Woods. One of my favorite all-time maps. I know I say that about pretty much every map, but this one is definitely in my top 3. I got those fuel points way out on the wings. Got a pretty significant cutoff point connecting you to your fuel that's on your side of the river. And yeah, I mean, this map is really fun because a lot of times we'll start to see players kind of group up in the middle as the game goes on and rotate to each side, and the fights can be very ferocious right through the center. And yeah, it leads to some really fun games. So we have just a quick second here. I am planning something fun for hitting 500 subscribers. I've got a poll up on my channel, so if you're interested in voting or giving me ideas on what you'd like to see happen in that happen for the 500 subscribers, I'd love to hear your input. Right now, it looks like I might be casting one of my own terrible games, which I don't know why you would vote for that, but, you know, if that's what you guys want to see, then I'm happy to do it. Yeah, so check that out if you haven't already. As always, thanks for your support. You guys have been subscribing like crazy, and I've been loving all the comments, so thank you so much. First fight of the game breaking out here. German player aggressively going for his opponent's fuel across the river. This makes a whole lot of sense because it is a little bit easier to hold your opponent the fuel across the river, just because it's more difficult for your opponent to access the cutoff point. U.S. player doing the same thing. U.S. player opening triple scouts with 2 heavy machine guns in support there. German player opening 2, total of 3 Panzer Pioneers with a bike. That's a little bit less common. Very common in team games when players go for grenade launchers. So I wonder if we're going to see that this game. Feels a little bit unlikely, but certainly not impossible. By the way, love these sandbags from our German here. I'm going to let him hold this side just a little bit easier. And locking in the Panzerjäger Command battle group there. And was trying to throw down some S-mines, but going to be found out by this heavy machine gun. Scout squad combination. Crawling back to heavy cover here, but with the scouts closing the gap there, this is probably not a fight these Panzer Pioneers can win. More Panzer Pioneers here in support. And a quick tech up for our German player and getting into assault grenadiers here, so very cool to see that. So heavy machine guns, of course, very good on, well, pretty much every map, but this map in particular, I think they're pretty decent just because of these kind of, have like these gaps like this one, which is just wide enough for a heavy machine gun to cover in such a way that it's very difficult for your opponent to make progress. Heavy machine gun nearly taking out the bike there, but bike is going to escape. And scouts almost going down themselves, but being pushed away here. And Panzer Pioneers barely making it to heavy cover. They're still going to be suppressed, unfortunately for him. While this is happening, Assault Grenadiers on the flank here are going to find this heavy machine gun's side arc here and is going to force him to reposition there. There's some fights taking place down on this side as well. And infantry support center nearly completed for our U.S. player. Adding on the captain there. Scout's going to follow that up. German player taking up 2 support elements here. Man, this game feels fast-paced. Going to have some potentially black half-track out on the field relatively early here. Black half-track on this map, I personally like it on this map just because of how long range it is. Motorbike getting a flank on those artillery observers, and bike going to force them back. So I have been seeing quite a bit of the artillery observer lately, and I went into Pax Ajax's stream the other day because he was, he's been grinding out the artillery observer, and I said, hey, I've been seeing a lot of this lately, and he said, yeah, that's because he's popularizing it. I don't know if that's actually true. Grenades in the retreat path from those assault grenadiers there, trying to pick up that heavy machine gun, not gonna get it. From the looks of it, and the assault grenadiers are going to be forced back by these artillery observers. any case, I've been seeing a lot of it lately, and I think it's an interesting build. I mean, you go up to 4 models per squad, and they can also throw down those artillery observer beacons, and on this map, artillery observer beacons are pretty darn good, if you ask me. Lots of places to hide them behind stands of trees and whatnot. Spike's in jeopardy here, going to be found out by this half-track. Half-track might chase a little bit here, and that's a dead bike, isn't it? Barely going to sneak around those trees, but still going to be found out by the half-track there. So nice little chase.
Engineers on the field.
And despite controlling this right side, German has been forced all the way back into his base here. So German player going for this fast flak half-track, and I think we're seeing the difference in, you know, units here. I mean, with an early flak half-track, I mean, it's really nice to have it out, but if it doesn't have infantry support in front of it, it's going to have a stinking bad time. By the way, our German player did add on the grenade launcher as we were seeing earlier in that fight. So I actually think we're going to see some more of that. It is rather munitions intensive, though. Very cool upgrade from our US player going for the flak, or AA upgrade on that half-track there, so going to shred some infantry here. We do see some mechanized Panzerjägers called in here. And looks like our German player wants to get aggressive here against that half-track. Panzer Pioneers barely holding down this point and is going to force his opponent back a little bit here. Managed to pick up this point here. Panzerjäger's getting really aggressive here on this half-track. Does look like they're going to be able to find it. And nice little pickup here for our German. Oh man, going down though. Panzerjäger's bailing out. Should get one more shot here. And is going to pick him up. That is definitely a good trade for our German. You know, it's funny. I see dives like this all the time. And I feel like they work out less often than we just saw there. That was kind of fun to see him get aggressive and actually manage to pick it up there. Artillery observers picking away at these Panzerjägers, but of course, or Panzer Pioneers, but the flak half-track doing some serious work here. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say this unit is good on this map. Huge firing arc there. Got all the angles covered. And Assault Grenadiers retreating there for some reason. Maybe a little bit concerned for them. Black half-track unsupported here in the face of 2 of these heavy machine guns. Is being microed though, so is going to do some serious work here. Force all those heavy machine guns back. Nicely done there. Another half-track on the way for our US player, no surprise there. Probably going to see the 75mm variant this time. S-minefield from our German player being found out by these minesweeping engineers. So I do like the S-minefield, despite the fact that it got found out here, because it forced our US player to not only add on an engineer, but add on minesweepers as well. And that's something our US player was going to want eventually anyway, but forcing the manpower and munitions out of his opponent is not a bad move, especially if he's putting those mines in sneakier places in the future. German player is going to be cut off here. It's only a small cutoff. He's only touching one of his skill points there, but these Assault Grenadiers are going to close the gap and stop that from happening. What is that buff we're seeing on these Assault Grenadiers there? Combined arms. Oh, from the Panzerjäger. Yeah. So he's got this defensive positions upgrade from the Panzerjäger battle group there, which is going to give him effectively the combined arms bonus of standing near vehicles, and it's going to give it to units in cover. And we're going to see that here as well. That's kind of cool. Now we are seeing multiple grenade launchers across the board here. Panzer Pioneers upgraded. This is a really, really common strategy in team games. And I know folks feel like it's oppressive. Oh man, 75mm hunting that flak half-track, gonna pick him up there. So grenades can actually do pretty well against the 75mm here, but is gonna give up the position. Heavy machine guns coming in from the middle there, gonna force everybody back. And this map is chaos right now. I mean, I can't show you all the action because there's literally action everywhere. So if you're struggling against grenade launchers in your games, I have a couple recommendations. The first one is counterintuitively, you don't want to stand in cover, potentially. So if you're standing in, say, heavy cover, and the grenade lands on the opposite side from you, you will take less damage from that grenade. But your units are bunched up, so all of them are taking damage. And it only gets worse from there, because if the grenade lands on, the unit's side of the cover, all of these units being clumped up like this would take full damage from that grenade. So that's so counterintuitively, when your units stand in the open, they are going to take less damage from those grenade launchers long term. And yeah, closing the gap with them can be pretty good. They have a minimum firing distance, so something like Assault Grenadiers is pretty decent. Bike barely going to scrape out of there. Grenade launchers coming in, as well as another flak half-track. So German player committed to this composition. Grenades in the retreat path. Fortunately for him, not going to connect. Doesn't look like any of these units are going to go down, but the flak half-track being very aggressive here. Might get one. Should make it out okay. Just barely going to scrape out of there, as are the engineers there. More artillery observers here on the side. 75mm. Was anticipating that flak half-track pushing in further, but he did not do so. And 75mm actually doing a number on that building there. We're seeing our first artillery radio beacon on the way. Where's that going down? Right here in the open. I don't know about that placement, but it's going to be able to hit. If I click on that, I do have it clicked, but I have to switch. Oh, I can see it here. Here we go. So, I mean, that's quite a range there. Going to help him out all throughout the center of the map here. Does it even extend out to the right side? Not so much on this side, but that's okay. And he is not going to post up some artillery observers on that beacon. Here's another beacon placed down. So going to have coverage all over this area here. Comes 75mm barrage, getting a huge connection on those Panzer Pioneers. Good hit there. US player is going to steal away this cutoff point, so he's going to feel pretty good about that. First artillery radio beacon barrage of the game coming down there. 75mm going to force back flak half-track. Grenade launchers waiting in cover, though, for all these units. Actually getting a great suppression from the flak half-track on a couple of those units there. Does look like the US player is going to win that fight. German trying to resecure his cutoff point here. Getting great connections on the heavy machine gun. 75mm getting aggressive. Panzerjägers ready for him, though, and they are going to trade half-tracks, or trade out that half-track there. Bazooka's being added on for our US player now. And heavy machine gun going to go down to this high veterancy Panzer Pioneer. Getting more good connections there, and German player surprisingly, or US player surprisingly going to stick around, but is going to bail out now. So, yeah. Very cool. I like seeing these grenade launchers. I'm sure some of you are experiencing some trauma flashbacks to some of your games right now with these grenade launchers, but I don't get to see them very often in 1v1s, and I'm enjoying it this game. Smoke grenade gonna pop here. Protect those grenadiers. Assault grenadiers, let them close the gap. Heavy machine gun gonna reposition so it does not experience a grenade storm. Grenade launcher coming up the flank here. Heavy machine gun backing way the heck off. Panzerjäger's also in the scene here. It does look like there's going to be a little scuffle here. German resecuring his cutoff point, so is going to have access to his fuel once again. Both players staying on light vehicles for the time being, ending up with a little bit somewhat low income, somewhat low fuel total, I should say. Are these guys going to find this guy? They are, but didn't notice it. But is just going to get a huge flank on this heavy machine gun. Beautiful use of the assault ability. Grenades in the retreat path. This looks like a good connection to me. Oh man, almost picking up that heavy machine gun. Lovely to see that. Is going to find this beacon here. Another beacon. What are these guys doing? Heavy machine guns getting totally shredded by that flak across the river here. Bazookas and our infantry assault called in here. Going to drive back that flak. Assault grenadiers getting super aggressive here. And are going to close the gap with those artillery observers. But with a push like this, German player is going to be all the way back in his base on this left side. Artillery observers taking advantage and capturing some territory there. German getting super aggressive. Man, it's going to take away this fuel. Another half track on the way for our U.S. player here. Did cancel it at the last second, so changing his mind about that. And German running out into the face of these units, no fear. I mean, they are heavily suppressed here. I do believe these units grant veterancy. Is it going to let me see? Yes, they do. They get veterancy from killing these units, so very cool here. Taking advantage of the suppressed units, wiping them out, getting a bunch of veterancy. Assault Grenadiers on that side getting a nice connection with the grenades there, but is forced to retreat. And a Stug on the way for our German player. Love to see the Stug here. It's the Stug D, so going to be the... can never remember if it's Stug G or Stug D, but Stug D is the one that has the nice little anti-infantry area of effect damage shot, and improved bazookas coming out for our U.S. player here. So, turns out I'm a doofus, and I thought, I mean, I swear this is Mandela effect. I thought bazookas, this bazooka upgrade, gave increased penetration. I have no idea why I thought that, but it actually just gives extra damage, and that was pointed out to me by Mule on Discord. So, apologies for getting that wrong for so long there. But Bazooka's going to pick up that flak half-track. They don't even need the increased damage. Stug blasting away at these bazookas from across the hedgerow here. That's a cool skin from this Stug. A little gray, charcoal-esque type skin. Very cool. And butterfly mines called down by our German here. Now this is, you know, when you use butterfly bombs like this, especially when your opponent has minesweepers, the whole point of something like this is to just delay your opponent, trap them in their base. I mean, it's an APM sink, and we're kind of seeing that here. So, you know, I've been talking about the artillery observers, but and as well as the artillery observer beacons, but I think another strong point of this battle group on this map in particular is the howitzer. So I think indirect fire on this map in particular is very, very good because of the games. They don't become campy, but indirect fire, you're long term. If this game goes long enough, we are going to see our players kind of posted up in the middle, trying to lock down one side or the other, or just down the middle. And a howitzer indirect fire can really, really break something like that up. So I'm kind of, you know, maybe it's copium, and maybe it's not the right call, but I think a howitzer on this map could be pretty cool to see. So, German player doing a nice little job controlling the flow of this game here. I mean, he's got his opponents cut off, denying him that fuel. As we all know, U.S. players can succeed on low fuel. All they really need is just a little bit of that half-track spam, potentially. Stug taking advantage here, leveling up, but these infantry got this, our German player forced all the way back into his base. So actually, it's pretty interesting to me. A lot of times I see players use this to control, like, a point, right? They say, I'm going to take this point from you, or I'm going to take this cutoff point, or I'm just going to bolster my push into an area, right? But we're seeing our U.S. player use that ability to, like, try and trap his opponent in his base. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, but it does seem like it's working out okay. I mean, that Stug has been forced down to basically no health here. And we're going to see a reconnaissance tractor added on for our German player here. So that's very cool. Reconnaissance tractor good on this map for the same reason that any indirect fire is good on this map. As the game slows down, as we start hitting that midpoint, I think that indirect fire gets much better. Recon tractor, of course, also has the map hacks, so gonna let him see what his opponent is doing in the fog of war. German player actually gonna find this beacon once again, getting in behind this heavy machine gun, getting aggressive here. Assault grenadiers jumping out, getting that disembark bonus, trying to pick up this heavy machine gun. Don't think he's gonna get it though. The second heavy machine gun gonna put a stop to that, and Stug gonna destroy the beacon there. Not that that beacon was doing a whole lot for him. Our U.S. player, that is. 75mm driving away the 250, missing all its shots, repositioning to try and help out with the Stug there. Bazooka's rotating over, seeing where his opponent's vehicles are. Barrage going to hit those Panzerjägers, and Bazooka's probably going to pick up that 250. So nice little get for him there. Assault Grenadier's going to close the gap, though. Heavy machine gun not ready for this, and is going to get flanked. Here comes a grenade storm, and he is getting a discount. That's literally a free grenade storm there because of the disembark bonus. Turns out hopping out of an exploding vehicle counts as disembarking. And map blinking all sorts of colors here. U.S. player taking the right while the German takes the left, but the U.S. player is going to lose his cutoff point here to these Panzerjägers. Heavy machine gun set up trying to help out, and repositioning again at the worst possible time. But does look like he's going to get set up on those assault grenadiers and force them back there. That's a really high little shot from those Panzer Pioneers there, and this is what I'm talking about with closing the gap there. He was trying to deny his opponent, but the Panzer Pioneers also repositioned, so both players sinking a little bit of APM into that fight. Assault Grenadiers still pinned here, but providing vision to this Stug. But two of those Bazooka squads getting some really nice penetrations there, and a third penetration. Here comes a 75mm. Not going to connect with that moving shot there. No surprise there with that reduced accuracy. Bazooka is fighting here. Recon Tractor being forced back. U.S. player getting very aggressive here, wanting to destroy this Recon Tractor, but Recon Tractor getting out safely. Here comes another Stug D on the scene, going to destroy that 75mm. And Bazookas don't really want this fight. I mean, that is a very low health Bazooka. He does not want to lose that unit. Is going to bail out there. And that Stug coming in at exactly the right time. Hopefully our German player sees these Panzer Pioneers. And wow, two Recon Tractor actually going down there out of position against those bazookas. That is a third bazooka squad on the scene here. And total chaos here. Did that Panzer Pioneer go down? No, they retreated out of there. Heavy machine guns being suppressed by butterfly mines here once again. This player coming in to clear those out, though. And nice little use of those mines to just slow his opponent down. Not going to get very many kills, if any. But they are going to slow his opponent down. I think that was a missed smoke grenade. I think that was meant to land over here, but eventually not. I don't know. That's weird. Haven't seen something like that before. Stug, again, once again, dealing with these bazookas. But nice grenades here. Gonna try and force the opponent back, but U.S. player says, heck no, I am coming into this area whether you like it or not. He does look like he's going to secure this area. Stug's being repaired up there. Does look like our German player has teched up to the self-repair. Yep, he's got the emergency repair kits, as well as these vehicle survival packages for those smoke grenades. Also has veteran squad leaders there. And yeah, so what's next for our German? I mean, is he going to stay on Stugs all game? I can't imagine he would. He has added on. That's crazy. He's added on the recovery half-track here. Do we think that's for the repair, or do we think that's for capturing, recrewing his vehicles as needed? Not really sure. Bazookas have a good position on this Stug here. It's a high veterancy Stug, doesn't want to lose that. Is coming in with the Assault Grenadiers on the side here. So a rather large engagement. Bazooka's still hunting the Stug. Stug aware of the situation, though. Repositioning, though. Gonna run into these Bazookas here. Missing the first shot there. Bazooka's going to get a really good connection and actually going to clear out that Stug. So really, really nice by our U.S. player. U.S. player even going to destroy... Oh, wanted to destroy the carcass but didn't. So I wonder if we're going to see that recovery half-track help out there. Interestingly enough, the German player throwing out a smoke grenade from these Panzer Pioneers to force that unit closer. I'm not sure that's something that he actually wanted. And a motor pool of all things on the way for our U.S. player here. Engineers might go down there. Should make it out, though. Stug just going to farm up some XP here on these units. And this recovery vehicle does not want to be there. Is going to bail out. Have a machine gun trying to take advantage. And I don't know about this. I mean, I guess this infantry assault is coming straight for his base, right? I mean, it's always going to arrive at his base. It's inevitable. But sacrificing manpower to it and repair time, I don't know. I mean, it's risky, right? It's working out for him. He is keeping his opponent out of his base, but I don't know if it's worth the trade-off in manpower and munitions. That said, German player does control both fuel points, at least for a little bit there. Of course, he was cut off. Recovery vehicle still doing its thing, which is to say nothing. Yeah, I wonder. It almost feels like a misclick, but I don't know for sure. See another Stug on the field for our German player here, going back up to 2. So I wonder if he's just going to stay on Stugs this whole game. And we are seeing a Sherman from our US player here. That is a Sherman, right? A Chaffee. What am I talking about, guys? He hasn't even built a tank depot. He built a motor pool, and he's going into Chaffees. So Chaffee is, I think Chaffee's a great choice against Stugs. You know, these Stugs don't have really any anti-tank effectiveness. Grenades in the retreat path here. Is he finally going to get the heavy machine gun? Second heavy machine gun saving the day from downtown. U.S. player's been very fortunate with his heavy machine guns. Hasn't lost a single one despite concerted efforts by our German player. German player hiding in the wings here against all these heavy machine guns, but is going to lose this fight. He's going to bail out now. Assault Grenadier, mechanized assault grenadiers called in here. And the recon tractor being repaired up by the recovery vehicle. Very interesting. I wonder if he's also going to try and refit this Stug here. That'd be so cool, assuming he doesn't run it over with his other Stug there. So very cool. You know, I don't know the fuel and manpower costs involved. I don't know how the math works out on that, but I think the recovery vehicle needs to repair up 2 vehicles to be worth it, I would imagine. I guess I won't be able to tell you this game, but if you happen to know the answer, I'd love to hear it in the comments. But it does look like he's going to get his money's worth out of this recovery vehicle. I mean, he's got the tractor. He can get us another Stug and potentially even this flak half-track over here. Wouldn't that be funny? This player did try to throw down a beacon here, but is going to be found out. This recovery vehicle does look like he's headed over there. Tractor calling down an artillery barrage on those heavy machine guns. Stug in position. Here comes the Chaffee, though. Chaffee going to get a side shot here, potentially. Not quite. The unit was able to reposition. Infantry assault called in at the same time. Our U.S. players capitalizing on that. Pushing in from multiple angles here. Recon tractor running for its life. Chaffee not dissuaded, though. And Stugs are in the base. Are going to be able to fight this Chaffee, but of course they're not very good against the Chaffee. Chaffee going to use the buildings for cover here, probably. Actually taking damage from those grenade launchers from his opponent. Is going to bail out here. But here comes the side hit from this infantry assault here, getting good connections on the Stug. Stug might go down here, is instead choosing to hold its ground there. Those units should be forced back. Chaffee, the flak half-track was repaired up by the repair vehicle there, but Chaffee and bazookas looked like he managed to pick it up there before it was able to escape. Bazooka's in the face of this Stug, going to force him back into his base here. Oh man, look at that damage. Nearly going down. Basically 0 bounces and is going to get him at max range there. So nice pickup by our US player with the aggressiveness of that Chaffee. Now, again, we do have this recovery vehicle, so nothing is permanently dead. Of course, it still costs fuel and manpower to repair up those units, but still cheaper than replacing it outright. And a second Chaffee on the way here. What a crazy game this has turned into. I mean, this is such a different build from our German, and it's resulting in an interesting counter by his opponent. Recon tractor getting aggressive here for some reason. It is going to pop smoke. Bazooka's going to charge through the smoke here. Assault Grenadier's not doing enough to save the unit, but one long-range shot barely going to escape there. And Assault Grenadier's in the retreat path of this Vet 3. Bazooka not going to be able to pick him up there. And that was a smoke grenade from the Assault Grenadiers. Going to let them close the gap with this heavy machine gun. Chaffee on the scene. Not going to do too much against this infantry, though. I think they are in range for grenades there, but choosing not to do that. Going to retreat back instead. Panzer Pioneer Blob over here. Going to totally get in a big fight with this heavy machine gun, unfortunately for him, inside the arc there. But with triple grenade launcher, absolutely shredding that unit. Now on the retreat, gonna dodge those grenade shots. Stug finding this, being found out by this Chaffee here. Isn't a whole lot of support. Chaffee bouncing off the side armor at point blank. Another Chaffee on the scene here. Probably gonna pick up this 250 before he bails out. Stug, not really too scared of the Chaffee, but Chaffee's still managing to do work here, and does look like the repair vehicle is going to be found out by the Chaffee's going to retreat further into his base. Stug's doing absolutely nothing to the Chaffee. Kind of a wet noodle fight here, and neither player doing a whole lot to the other, that is. Trying to repair up his Stug here. Chaffee's closing the distance, might pick him up here. Another bounce, but now having to change fire to these repair truck here because can't actually damage the Stugs. Repair truck managing to escape here. Grenade launchers helping out and actually going to destroy one of the Chafees. What is this fight, dude? Light artillery being called down on the infantry assault there. And both Chafees going down with nothing to show for it. What a ridiculous charge here by our US player. What a ridiculous charge that was. And even managing to totally wipe the infantry assault, that's something you don't see every day. So while all that was happening, US player did manage to secure, or is managing to secure this left side, continuing to bleed his opponent down. I haven't even had time to talk about it, but the victory point total looking pretty good, or pretty scary for both players, I should say. Bazooka's once again going to force back this Stug. And not quite connecting on the retreat there. Heavy machine guns managing to hold these infantry in their base. Satchel charge going to destroy that heavy cover. Assault Grenadiers coming in from the side here. This might be a dead Stug. Attack round through the smoke there. Not quite able to finish the job because one of the units bounced there. And that might be a dead bazooka on the retreat here. That'd be a pretty important pickup for our German. But the Vet 3 unit barely going to sneak out of there. Assault Grenadier is going to try and close the gap with this heavy machine gun. Heavy machine gun has him in the arc, though. But the long-range grenade launcher is going to force that all back. And another Chaffee on the way for our US player. So, I don't, to be totally honest with you, I don't know where our German goes from here. I don't know what he needs in his composition. I mean, he has quite a bit of fuel built up. I mean, he could go for something like a Tiger, I suppose. He has indirect fire. He has anti-infantry. Just feels like he needs... I mean, he needs more tankiness. He kind of needs an answer to this, these heavy machine guns a little bit. I mean, I guess that's what the Stugs are for. Yeah, I keep going in circles here because it feels like our German has everything he needs. His biggest weakness, I guess, is against those Chaffee. And maybe a Tiger is not the right answer to a Chaffee. But it does feel like the right answer to bazookas, so I don't know. I'm curious, I'm a little dumbfounded on where this game is going to go from here. US player, on the other hand, I mean, Chaffee's a fine answer. Kind of feels like he'd benefit more for something like Hellcats, because Hellcats can brawl with these Stugs. Chaffee getting in close with this Stug over here, but Panzerjäger doing a number on the light armor from that unit there is going to be forced back. German player again choosing to face down this infantry assault here and actually doing some serious work. Nice smoke grenade coming out there, gonna blind that heavy machine gun. Phosphorus rounds coming out from these bazookas on the flank here. He's hunting the Stug, but the Stug has already retreated. Is gonna cut his opponent off from fuel. So US player technically controlling both fuel endpoints right this second. And I just realized this game's been going for 34 minutes, so what a ridiculous bloodbath we're seeing here. And wow, support vehicle here being focused by the bazookas. Should get out of there. Okay, Bazooka almost going down to the Stugs here. Both Stugs blasting away. Bazooka's trying to close the gap, but these are some full health Stugs. And Assault Grenadiers closing the distance here. What the heck was that? Oh man, losing both those bazookas. Those were both Vet 3 bazookas there going down to the Stugs. And Chaffee wants a piece here. Is going to find the repair vehicle here. Focusing the Stug first, changing fire now. Should get a hit here, but not quite in position. And Unit's going to run for his life here. Panzerjäger's here to help out. Chaffee cannot close the gap here. And Stug's just barraging away. So nice little defense of his units here. It's amazing how much our German has gotten away with this game. Feels like he should have lost his tanks multiple times over here. Oh, what a shot from over the hedge there by that Stug. Gonna clean out that Chaffee. And things not looking too good for a US player. Of course, he's not out of this game just yet. Does have fuel income, does have victory point income. But I think losing those high veterancy bazookas is going to be pretty devastating long term. He is going to add those back on over time here. But the veterancy is something that cannot be easily replaced. Bazooka's choosing to hang out in this smoke cloud as long as possible to... oh man, losing that unit though is pretty darn bad there. I mean, he was trying to deny his opponent from capturing this victory point. And it did work for quite a while there. But US player wiping the bazookas on their way out is pretty devastating. That was a nice little smoke bomb from the reconnaissance tractor. And now these Panzer Pioneers on the flank here with the grenade launcher is going to do some serious work, even managing to start targeting this heavy machine gun that has them in place there. Assault Grenadiers trying to close the gap. Heavy machine gun going to focus fire them down though. But heavy machine gun is going to go down, remounted immediately by the engineer. Here comes the Stug though. Bazooka's bouncing off that front armor. And US player realizing he is in deep trouble against all those Stugs. So, what a game. That was just total madness. I mean, look at that infantry killed from our German player. I mean, half, not half, but I was about to say half of it was from the infantry assault ability called in, just farming that up for experience. And, wow, what a game. 11 vehicles lost by our German, but turns out that recovery vehicle, if your opponent's not destroying the carcasses, can be very strong. I hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as I did, and I will see you in the next one.